She looked directly at the judge and said he never built anything for us. She called him a failure and claimed that everything they had was because of her. I stayed silent because I knew the truth was very different. Then the judge looked at me and asked one question. Do you know what he actually did for this family? Her attorney suddenly stopped talking. My wife looked toward the floor, and within seconds, the entire courtroom became silent. What the judge was about to discover was something she never expected to come out in court. The courtroom was quiet. When my wife finished explaining why she believed she deserved almost everything in the divorce, she told the judge that I had never built anything meaningful for our family. According to her, she had carried the household, while I had simply gone to work and come home every night. She said she had sacrificed her own opportunities and that I had never created anything that belonged to both of us. I listened without interrupting. There was a part of me that wanted to stand up and explain everything. I wanted to tell the judge about the years of early mornings and late nights. I wanted to explain the money I had put into the house and the business. I wanted to talk about the payments I had made when our income was barely enough to cover everything. But I stayed silent. My attorney had told me that the strongest answer would not come from an emotional argument. It would come from documents. The judge looked through the financial papers that have been submitted by both sides. In many divorce proceedings, financial disclosure is a major part of determining what each person owns, owes, earns, and spends. California courts, for example, require spouses in a divorce to exchange detailed financial information and documents relating to income, assets, debts, and expenses. The court also warns that leaving out or hiding financial information can have serious consequences. The judge looked up. Then came the question, do you know what he actually did? My wife looked confused. Her attorney began to answer for her, but the judge stopped him. The judge asked for the records connected to the property and the accounts. My attorney placed the documents on the table. There were payment records showing who had made the major payments. There were records connected to the house. There were financial documents showing years of expenses that had never been mentioned in my wife's statement. Then came the document that changed the entire mood of the courtroom. It showed that several of the things my wife described as being created entirely through her efforts had actually been funded through money I had earned and contributed over many years. I did not smile. I did not celebrate. I simply looked at the judge. My wife suddenly became quiet. Her attorney started reviewing the documents again. The judge asked another question. Why was this information not included in the original financial disclosure? Nobody answered immediately. That silence said more than any argument could have said. The point was not that every payment was automatically meant. I would receive everything. Divorce law varies by states and individual circumstances. The important issue was that the court needed accurate financial information before making decisions about property and support. That is why the judge focused on evidence instead of emotions. The United States Courts explains that the federal rules of evidence provide a framework for determining whether evidence is relevant, reliable, authentic, and fair in proceedings where those rules apply. My wife had spent the morning telling the court that I had never built anything, but the documents were telling a different story. I finally understood something that day. Sometimes people judge your value by what they can see. They see the house. They see the car. They see the business. They see the final result. They do not see the years of sacrifice that made those things possible. And sometimes the person standing beside you knows exactly how much you gave, but chooses to tell everyone that you gave nothing. The judge did not need me to insult my wife. The judge did not need me to shout. The evidence was enough. That day, I learned that you do not always have to defend yourself with anger. Sometimes the truth has already been recorded in places nobody thinks to look. My wife called me a failure in front of the court. But when the judge asked what I had actually done, the documents answered for me. And the most powerful moment was not when the judge spoke. It was when my wife realized that the truth had finally entered the room.